had my first television contract in 1975, so that's 40 years ago, although I was working in theatre before then. So, and what I do for a living is I write stuff down on bits of paper, mostly lies, and then sell those bits of paper to people, and they give me money, which is very pleasant. I love duck jokes, there's a lot of them. A duck goes into a chemist shop and says, "Have you got any lip salve?" And the chemist said, "Yes, sir," and he gives him the lip salve and then says, "How would you like to pay?" And the duck says, "Just put it on my bill." That's a very funny joke. Comedy is one of those fantastically indefinable things. Basically what it comes down to is anything that makes you laugh is funny, which is a sort of circular argument, because if it makes you laugh, it's comedy. And if it's comedy, it makes you laugh. So you aren't explaining anything by that, but it's the only definition that really makes any sense. I mean, all that Freud did a whole thing on the theory of comedy, or the theory of the joke or something, Freudian theory of comedy. But he bases it on two of the worst jokes that have ever been told. So he's basing his entire theory on stuff that's not funny. Many people have come up with theories of comedy, and mostly they're people with very little sense of humour. You know what's funny, that's all. You know, because it makes you laugh. It's very straightforward, really. It's the enemy of things like bigotry and stuff like that. And I think comedy is, on the whole, a very, very healthy response to the world. That's pretentious. I steal quite a lot of them from other sitcoms and other programmes. But, and anyway, you're never stealing anything because, again, if you look at the books, there are only a certain number of fixed comic characters that were defined in Italian commedia dell'arte in the 16th century or thereabouts. And they are the standard comic figures that have been. There's one called Pantalone, which is a standard comic figure in commedia dell'arte, and if you look at Basil Fawlty or a million characters that have come out of him, sort of the pompous idiot, basically. And there's the idiot, the other kinds of idiot, and you can just trace most comic characters from there. But an awful lot of it just comes from somebody you know who's funny. Not that they're fun, not that they necessarily know that they're funny, but you know, people, everybody when they sit around with their friends in the pub gossips about friends, and those friends that you gossip about usually make good comic characters, or they have good comic mannerisms that you can use. A verbal style always helps, and I find a way of discovering the verbal style of a character is to just write pages and pages of dialogue that will never make the final cut. But just, if you've got, two main characters, you want to get them talking to each other, and you want to figure out the kinds of things that they say to each other. In the screenwriting books, it says you have to have sort of checklists of characters. You have to know all about them, what's their favourite colour, and you develop characters by what their traits are and their favourite things and who their parents were and their backstory and all this. I always find that characters come straight away. They're there, and because you do. I mean, when you meet somebody and you make a fairly instant judgment about who they are and what makes them tick, usually you're wrong, but on the other hand you formed a very full character and you know pretty much who they are. One's comic view of the world is absolutely individual to each person who works in comedy, who writes comedy, and part of the job, I suppose, is selling your vision of the world to other people. And there are certain comedy writers they've just got their own special. Graham Linehan, who did Father Ted and the IT Crowd and stuff like that, he had this vision of the world, with Arthur Matthews originally, that he just sort of conveyed. And it's sort of, welcome to my world, these are the things that I find funny. Please try and share them with me. And that's who you are. I mean, that's who you were growing up.